Welcome back. Just about 20 seconds left for pre-open. Mayuresh, Joshi is also with us. Mayuresh, good morning. First, your thoughts on Stride Shasun, which could be again one of the stocks of the day.
Morning, Anuj. I think I was just hearing the management out, and clearly the API business seems to be under pressure and would continue to do so at least for the next 2 to 3 quarters. Having said that, the US business is on a sound footing and has always been for Stride Shasun. And again, I think the kind of margins that we probably witnessed in this quarter, the margins are getting under pressure on a consolidated basis. Again, the kind of acquisitions that they're doing and the R&D cost that is expected to get incurred of around Australian $10 billion on the new acquisition that they've done, that will again have some amount of front load on the P&L for Stride Shasun. So again, in my opinion, again, I think unless the numbers show significant improvement, the stock might largely underperform over the next 2 quarters.
Okay, there is a number coming in. It's 1/3% lower, Mayuresh, on Shasun. To be fair, the stock reacted yesterday. So perhaps today it's only the analyst commentary, which has not been all that negative.
Oh yes, but you know, the problem with stocks like Strides is that, you know, these stocks go through a period of re-rating or de-rating, and which is not a one-day process. So that's something I'll watch out for. The pre-open rates are trickling in. By the way, the SGX Nifty has moved to high point of the day at 8660. So it's no longer indicating just a flat start. It's indicating a good start. Pre-open, I think, will adjust because a couple of rates are bizarre, like Infosys. It's no way that it's going to open 7% lower. So let's look at some believable rates. Some of the Sensex rates are a bit believable. Lupin is up about almost 1%. So that could be good. Power Grid, of course, has been one of the better stocks. That is up 2%. And a couple of other stocks also doing well.
Rupee is turning lower. I mean, it's of course adjusting to a 48-hour trading of the dollar. And perhaps the dollar just inched up in the last 48 hours a bit, that's all. It weakened again overnight, so I think this should really count as flat. It's 10 pies more expensive, the dollar, compared to the Tuesday close. Otherwise, we have to really wait and see. Now the green has overtaken the red. Power Grid has got a thumbs up with a 1.6% uptick. Jet Airways, Anuj, was saying that it's perhaps bottomed out. At the moment, it's starting with a 1.2% uptick. I can see Idea having a green tick. I thought Bharti would have one as well. Let's pull up Bharti and see if it's showing any, minor, not very big. Singtel, of course, is bought in the parent company, but this would be more a transfer of shares from Temasek to Singtel. So maybe not new buying, but at least a reiteration of their faith in the group, and that may be rewarded a little bit. Actually, it's really flat, so maybe we'll have to wait by before we get any more concrete trends.
Well, just a couple of more stocks that could be in the news today. One of them is Gammon India. Remember, it's just a 17 rupee stock, but it's bagged an order after a long time from NHAI worth almost 900 crores. So Gammon India in pre-opening is up almost about 20% Uttam Galva, we were expecting this kind of a move on Uttam Galva, almost 17-18% higher, 19% higher now in pre-opening, as news once again that China is looking to pick up stake in Uttam Galva. Dish TV is another one that's up almost about 3.5 to 4%. All the merger acquisition news on Dish TV for the last many days, so that's also up in the green. Philips Carbon is also up almost 5% post its numbers, so that's another stock that you'd want to look at.
But Z-Learn is also higher, but we'll have to wait and see how things pan. But starting 7% higher.
Okay, I wanted to ask Mayuresh about one theme that has played out really well, which is the agri theme. Mayuresh, all these stocks, Coromandel, Jain Irrigation, UPL, Escorts, all sitting at 52-week highs. From that space, what do you like best now?
Morning, Sonia. I think the agri theme is playing out pretty well, as you rightly said. Based on the premise that monsoons have been exceedingly good after a 2-year blip that we witnessed, and that is probably creating huge amount of momentum, both in terms of expected volumes to go up, realizations to improve, and probably working capital constraints expected to come down for the universe as a whole. I think within the stocks itself, I think UPL is one stock that I've liked for some length of time. I continue to be optimistic about the stock going ahead as well. With the top 6 global innovators and the kind of generic of patent that can come through in the agrochemical space of $3 to $4 billion over the next couple of years, my own sense is that UPL is sweetly placed probably to tap grab these opportunities. So UPL is something that I'll continue to remain optimistic about. I was hearing the Jain Irrigation Management on your channel a couple of days back, and again I think the kind of optimism that they have probably envisaged in terms of debt equity going down, and they have got it down from 1.8 to 1.2. And again I think the food processing business is expected to do well, and again I think the government focus and thrust specifically in irrigation as a theme, I think the stock is expected to do well. So in my opinion, again, Jain Irrigation can be a long-term play, and UPL is something that I continue to be optimistic about.
Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you something more open-ended, Mayuresh. Now that the result season is done, we saw a bunch of mid-cap numbers coming towards the end. Any standout picks?
KNR Constructions is something that I have preferred again in the past, and the numbers have been quite good even in this quarter. Going ahead as well, I think the balance sheet dynamics are sweetly flavoring stocks like KNR Construction. EPC as a theme should do well. The debt equity for KNR is around 0.15. The working capital has got down to around 45 odd days. It's got a very strong balance sheet. It's got 4 BOT projects in its portfolio. Strong order book of 4,250 odd crores, aptly divided into the roads and the irrigation segment of 3,500 and 726 odd crores respectively. And again, I think the ROE has shown significant improvement. So in my sense, again, KNR Constructions is something that I'll continue to like. Dalmia Bharat again posted a good set of numbers, largely factoring in the good numbers that OCL had posted. But again, I think the volume growth of around 3.76 MT, the kind of realizations that they've probably posted, with the expectations of cement actually doing well over the next couple of years as a theme, Dalmia Bharat numbers, in my opinion, were outstanding. And again, a clear disclaimer, I think we might be holding these stocks on behalf of our clients.
Okay. Hemant, SAIL did well yesterday, especially in last hour. It had a big breakout. Are you backing that for some more momentum move today?
Yes, Anuj. Again, a stock which has not run up, seeing the sectors run up. And if you see what is happening now again with Tata Steel, JSW Steel, they are seeing the buying coming back. Picking up SAIL was one, yes, technically it has given a breakout, and the breakout has come on back of open interest additions to the tune of 9%. The volumes on the derivative market itself moving up by more than 36%. So clearly telling that buying is coming back. It's a PSU stock. We are keeping a stop loss of 46 and expecting it to touch 52 in next 2 to 3 trading sessions. So SAIL should be looked in the metal pack, the way the buying has come back in it.
Okay, well, at the moment the markets are indicating perhaps a flat start. Okay, now a third of a percent higher. Let's wait and see. It certainly looks like a green start, but some of the rates are still a little sharply higher. Power Grid clearly looks like will be the stock of the morning with a 1.3% gain. Mayuresh, what might be the leaders henceforth in the Nifty?
So again, Lata, I think within the pack itself and with the kind of moment that we've probably seen in terms of how the NBFC stocks have moved, private banking as a space would continue to do well. My own sense is that IT and capital goods might still drag the markets in terms of how the earnings will pan out for the better part of Q2, Q3. But largely, I think it will be driven by the larger private sector banks, and that will probably lend support in terms of core earnings growth for the markets going ahead.
Okay, well, don't lose sight of what's happening with Asia, because the Hong Kong market is having a good rally today. More than 350 points in the green for Hong Kong, and it's moved into the, now 370 points. It's moved to the high point of trade. So it looks like the momentum is pretty strong over there. Ashwini, just wanted your thoughts on some of the big, movers of the week. We've had a very strong run in names like Cipla, Hindalco and Tata Steel have done well. On 3 of these names, what would your view be?
See, all 3 are different. Cipla, I believe, has made a long-term bottom, probably will get up to 625, 630. Hindalco, Tata Steel, meanwhile, have come off corrections, and now that you have your China news, today could probably be a good day on metals. So they consistently should do another 10-15% higher. So probably metals is one place to look at.
Okay. Well, can you give us your big call of the morning, Ashwini?
See, I'm going with Escorts, given that agri theme is playing out. So this is a buy with a stop of 306, target of 324.
Okay. Sudarshan, Z Entertainment has corrected a bit, but this has really been a stock in a long-term uptrend. Do you have a call on this one?
Well, Z would be a buy for me. It's in a very narrow range after big gains for the last few weeks, and that narrow range usually gives us a sense that an imminent breakout is in the offing. So it's a buying idea for a swing trader, a short-term trader, as well as for somebody who wants to buy and hold positions.
Okay, well, let's quickly handle another company that came with numbers. Bazaar Industries showed an extraordinary growth in both income and in EBITDA. We have Suresh Bazaar, the chairman, joining us. Mr. Bazaar, how would you rate the chances of continuing this? You've done extremely well on both revenue and EBITDA. Is it all because of raw material costs falling?
This quarter it was good, and we hope this year we are hoping that the results will be better than the.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Bazaar, good morning. Of course,
better than the. Good morning.
Sorry, you're making a point. You know, the point I wanted to ask was last year because of the China issue, a lot of companies in your sector did well. Is that issue still quite hot? And you know, would that mean that the numbers would continue to look good for this year?
Yeah, certainly. As you will see from this first quarter, the results are the ever best, second best in the history of Bazaar Industries. So we hope this year also will be better than the earlier year.
Okay, but are the Chinese companies still shut down? Will your revenues, for instance, for the full year be 60%, 70% higher for full FY17?
I won't say that China is shut down, but they have the problems because now everybody is cautious about the environment issues. So if anything goes wrong, nobody is allowed to perform. So they will also have the problem, and the cost is increasing. So we don't have any fear about the China. And as you will see from the first quarter, the results of the company are better, and in the current July-August month also we are doing better.
So, Mr. Bazaar,
so we don't see any problem.
Sure, just one final number then from your end. Do you expect
Yes.
your revenues to be at 350 crores by the end of FY17? That's something that you had guided for earlier.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, and your margins could do better than this?
Yeah, certainly. As you see, first quarter results are the indication of that margins will be better than what we have performed in the earlier years.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Bazaar. So that's a company that's posted strong numbers.
Yes.
Revenues, profit as well as EBITDA all rising in very strong double digits between 50 and 70%. That stock up in the green at this point in time, up 1%, and look at the performance in the year itself. It's trebled. The markets at this point in time settling with almost an 8650 mark on the Nifty. So it's a strong showing on the Nifty as well as the mid caps. Let's see how things go from here on. Mayuresh, a quick question before the markets open. Are you all picking up any PSU stocks even now? I mean, banking stocks?
Lata, I think the outperformance has been quite evident over the last few weeks. But again, I think we'll remain cautious specifically on the mid and the small cap PSU space. I think the capital adequacy still remains a little bit of a question mark that will fuel balance sheet growth. And what we really like for length of time has been the larger PSU bank stocks like SBI. So again, I think the recommendation here would be investors holding on to a stock like SBI should continue holding on.
Okay. Mayuresh, sugar stocks have corrected 20 to 40%. Post good numbers. Is this story done, or do you think at lower levels they are still a buy?
Again, I think Anuj, they have to correct, and the kind of price movement that we've probably seen in the stocks are just stating a lot of positives that these stocks have probably exhibited in their numbers, with inventory gains coming through on balance sheets, with working capital constraints easing off. I think the numbers exhibited a strong show. But going ahead, I think as prices start coming down, and one really needs to also understand the dynamics of global demand-supply conditions, what really happens in Brazil. And again, the expectations largely are that for this sugar season itself, I think the carryover inventory will be much lesser than probably what we saw and witnessed last sugar season. So clearly, I think sugar stocks were in the sweet spot, but they need to correct from the current levels even now before one makes an investment rationale out of them.
Okay, well, since we have only 1 minute to go, Sudarshan, a quick comment on Power Grid. That stock is the biggest Nifty gainer. A lot of upgrades coming in as well.
It's an investing idea even at these elevated levels. I don't know about a trade, but if you buy and hold it for 6 months to a year, there's money in it. It's going much higher.
Okay. Well, we just have a few minutes or seconds more for the markets to open. So probably we won't be able to squeeze through another question. Power Grid, as Sonia pointed out, is a standout performer. The NBFCs are coming back. There is Capital First with about a 1% gain, Equitas with a 1% gain. So after seeing some bit of decent profit taking over the last 2 weeks or so, we are once again seeing those kinds of stocks also rise. Let's see if they are able to shoulder more of the mid-cap rally. There will certainly be the rural theme also. I think Gammon Industries is the other big mover in the mid-caps. Well, there goes the bell, and it is indeed a 0.4% uptick, and 8650 got taken almost in the first 2 seconds of trading, or the first 2 trades. That's a strong opening for the market, you will have to say, and much of the heavy lifting has been done by Power Grid. Dr. Reddy's actually is following suit with a 1% gain. Tata Motors, Ultratech, Cipla, all of them gain about 0.8, so almost a percent gain. ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, SBI, all 3 of them have done well, and actually it's the Bank Nifty which is nose ahead of the Nifty, up about 0.55 as I speak, and there ICICI is taking a larger chunk of the weight. It's about 1% higher. SBI almost a percent higher. Axis 0.8 higher, and well, the others are not in the top 10 list. Then of course Idea Cellular, Sun Pharma, Adani Ports, BHEL, all of them up about 0.5%. What's in the red at all? Just a handful, 3 or 4 stocks. Coal India is seeing some profit taking after a stellar run yesterday. I think it gained over 3% yesterday. L&T is down about 0.5%, not much. And ITC would count as flat. That's all actually. I think the action is also there in the mid-cap space. At the moment the index is higher, the bigger indices are higher, but plenty of individual flyers.
Oh yes, it's a very strong start really to the markets. I mean, look at the market breadth, 700 stocks on the advancing side. The Sensex itself in the initial moments of trade is up 140 points. It's a powerful rally that we're seeing, led by a lot of the Asian market up move in the last 1 hour or so. In terms of big stocks moving around, let's just take a look at some of the newsmakers. You have Uttam Galva, that's seeing a double-digit gain today, so 15.5% higher. A lot of that, stake buy, talks, etc. But volumes are not picking up as much. Gammon India is up almost about 15% on the back of that 750 crore order from NHAI. Treehouse is having another big run today, so another 8% higher on Treehouse. So watch out for that stock. Philips Carbon is up 3% post its numbers. Dish TV on more M&A talk is up almost about 2.5%. Along with Gammon India, Gammon Infra is also higher. So, a lot of these penny stocks are also starting to move. JP Associates is up almost about 2-3% Radico Khaitan has been rallying ever since its strong numbers. Yesterday it was up 8%. Today Radico Khaitan is up another 2%. And on the downside, you have Strides that's succumbing to selling pressure. An additional 4%. Okay, now it's 2%. The knock that we're seeing on Strides. Management commentary has been a bit cautious, so that's another stock to watch. But otherwise, Anuj, look at the market. It's a big move on the upside today.
New all-time high for mid-cap index. We've just forgotten that the mid-cap index has actually made a new lifetime high in today's trade, and that's been the strength of this market. This month as well, the mid-cap index has actually rallied 2%. The Nifty hasn't done much, but the mid-cap index has. The Bank Nifty, that's the BSE BankX also, it's a new high. The Metals Index, it's a new high. The BSE mid-cap index, it's a new 52-week high or new lifetime high. So a lot of indices have hit a new lifetime high in trade today. The finance index has hit a new lifetime high. So many indexes hitting lifetime high, and for the Nifty, we are just about 0.7% away from all-time highs. And the issue here is, do you want to buy after a gap up, or do you want to wait? Because you want to buy, that's the market, you're making more money by buying. but will the market give an intraday dip? I think that's something that I'll watch out for. Maybe one intraday dip would come because it's been that kind of a market.
Well, that's the question to Ashwini then.
Yeah.
What would you do, Ashwini? Wait for a dip to buy? What's the first 5-minute trade, if at all?
The market is expanding, Bank Nifty is expanding, so you enter right now because, from a narrow range when a market breaks out, you generally don't get very big intraday dips. So at least have some position right now. The way we've started, it looks like there will be more upside. So just get long on the Bank Nifty as well as several individual stocks like metals or PSU banks, etc. Today could be a day where we could see follow through.
Oh yes, and there's a big move that we're seeing in metal names. In fact, fresh 52-week highs for names like Hindalco and Tata Steel. Remember that...
Actually, I think that Chinese the theme is really playing out, as even Ashwini pointed out. Look at the Bhushans and the Monetis parts. Just about everything is being pulled up because it could mean it is at the moment being interpreted as a little more in terms of imported steel prices, which will give you a little bit of an elbow room. It's all sentiment at the moment, but it's gone beyond just the Hindalcos and the Tata Steel. Sorry, you were saying.
No, in fact, I just wanted to ask Sudarshan his view, because I remember Ashwini saying that, metal stocks are something that you should trade on the long side. But Sudarshan, what about you, Hindalco, Tata Steel, not just for today, which we've discussed, but for this, as a positional trader, would you be long on any of these names?
Yeah, I would be long in the non-ferrous metals, which are giving a strong sense of outperformance. Vedanta, Hindalco. My position trading or investing idea is NMDC. I actually own shares in the company. NMDC is breaking out of a long trading range and is coming out of a bear market. There's probably a lot of potential there. But broadly for trading, Hindalco and Vedanta are very appropriate.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks a lot for taking us through the market opening. It's been a good opening. 155 point higher on the Sensex, 41 points higher on the Nifty, and the mid-cap index has made a new all-time high. Harsha Upadhyay of Kotak Mutual Fund is with us now.